good to see you again. You interested in hearing about the dark side of one of the galaxy's prettiest planets? I thought so. Well, you've surely heard of Naboo before. If you're lucky enough to have been there, you know it's one of the most beautiful planets in the galaxy. It's got rolling plains, pleasant seas, beautiful cities, everything you could want out of the mid-rim. Even if you go off the beaten path, it's still a pretty nice place. The underwater Gungan cities are a true marvel, almost as incredible as Theed itself. But Naboo's got monsters as well. Big ones, too. You've got to dive really deep to find them. They lurk in the planet's porous core region, which is full of vast underwater tunnels. It's poorly explored, and it's home to some of the largest sea monsters in the galaxy.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
Naboo is a unique world. Most terrestrial planets have a solid inner core and a molten outer core made of a nickel-iron alloy, surrounded by a rocky mantle and planetary crust. Naboo's got the standard nickel-iron inner core, but its outer core is made of plasma, which gives the planet a bunch of unusual properties. Now and again, this plasma bubbles up towards the surface, carving huge tunnels through the mantle and crust. These tunnels are all flooded, and they crisscross the planet, forming the Naboo Abyss. The Gungans call them the underwater ways, and sometimes use them as undersea highways, but even they avoid the Abyss when they can. That's because this enormous underground ocean is home to some of the largest predators in the galaxy. Take the Opee Sea Killer. This 20-meter monster is some sort of cross between a crustacean and a fish. It's got a long, heavily armored body, one set of pectoral fins, 3 pairs of legs for swimming, and the biggest mouth you'll ever see. The Opee prefers to perch in one spot and try to lure prey in. It's got 2 long antennae above its eyes that act as lures, drawing particularly stupid fish towards whatever outcropping the Opee's hiding behind. But the Opee Sea Killer can also be an active hunter when it wants to be. Despite its unusual body plan, it's a damn good swimmer. Its swimming method is unusual, to say the least. The Opee sucks water in through its massive mouth and then blasts it back out through pores under its armor plates, propelling it forward at a respectable speed. The Opee can accelerate pretty quickly, allowing it to ambush prey easily. When it catches up to something it wants to eat, it spits out a long, prehensile tongue to draw the victim into its mouth, which is packed with 2 rows of very sharp teeth. Male Opee sea killers can also use their mouths to carry fertilized eggs, which means they have to fast for 3 months until the young are born. The Opee sea killer is one of the toughest and most aggressive predators on Naboo. Its hide is made of some sort of heavy-duty chitin, and blaster fire is totally useless against it. And even creatures large enough to bite through it have to be careful of the Opee's teeth and tongue. But there's always a bigger fish, and even the Opee Sea Killer has its rivals. The second largest predator on Naboo is the Colo clawfish, clocking in at 40 meters long. These beasts weigh 2,100 kilograms on average, and they look even more gnarly than the Opee Sea Killer. These motherfrackers look like some sort of cross between a crocodile and an eel, with long, flat bodies and bony heads full of sharp teeth tipped with venom. They have 2 arm-like appendages that work as mandibles, tipped with sharp fangs that the Colo clawfish uses to shovel food into its mouth. These guys eat whatever they can get their hands on and can unhinge their jaws for particularly large meals. Since the Colo clawfish is the second largest creature on Naboo, this means it eats virtually everything that moves. Its stomach can expand to accommodate larger meals as well. Colo clawfish prefer the darkest parts of Naboo's depths, living in the narrower tunnel systems and abyssal trenches. They're lined with bioluminescent strips and glowing spines that help them hunt in these conditions, drawing in prey so that the Colo clawfish can rip them apart. Their secret weapon, though, is a powerful, hydrosonic speech, which Colo clawfish use to stun prey before they pounce. They're one of the most lethal predators in the galaxy, so much so that a few have been taken off-world for study. This resulted in the creation of the Kaminoan saberjowl, a subspecies of the Colo clawfish that was created and accidentally released by Kaminoan cloners. The Colo clawfish is one of the only creatures fearsome enough to pose a threat to the Opee Sea Killer, but that goes both ways. Though the Colo clawfish is twice as long as the Opee is bulkier and still capable of preying on Colos now and again. The Colo clawfish, meanwhile, loves to eat the Opee's eggs and young, often swallowing them whole while they're still alive. But this can be a mistake. Opee Sea Killer eggs have been known to hatch in the stomachs of their predators, and young Opees that get swallowed alive are capable of eating their way through a Colo clawfish's stomach, leaving their would-be predator to suffer an agonizing death. All told though, the Colo clawfish is a real beast, capable of subduing prey in a variety of highly effective ways. Even Gungan subs have been known to fall victim to these monsters. But both the Colo clawfish and the Opee Sea Killer are dwarfed by Naboo's largest predator, which preys on them both. There is, after all, always a bigger fish. The largest creature on Naboo is the stuff of legends. The Sando Aqua monster grows to an average length of 200 meters, and it weighs an average of 54,000 tons. It dwarfs every other living thing on the planet. Hell, it dwarfs virtually every living thing in the galaxy. But size alone isn't the only reason that the Sando Aqua monster is so terrifying. It's also notable in that it looks out of place for an aquatic environment. It's actually a mammal, and it looks more like a giant undersea feline than anything that belongs down in the Naboo abyss. It's too familiar, as it were. Sando Aqua monsters have enormous, bulky bodies with long tails, flat heads, and 4 limbs. Curiously, they seem only half adapted to underwater life. Unlike most undersea mammals, they don't have layers of fat or blubber for insulation, and they aren't very streamlined, making them slow swimmers. Their limbs have these odd half-claw, half-fin structures at the end, which I've heard make scientists believe that Sando Aqua monsters have only just started to adapt to living underwater. These beasts use their back limbs for swimming and their front limbs to grab prey, which they funnel towards their vast mouths. Their heads sort of remind me of a Nexus, just with only one set of eyes. As you might expect, Sando Aqua monsters need to eat a lot to be able to grow so large, and they prefer more massive creatures, such as the Colo clawfish and the Opee Sea Killers, but they'll generally eat anything in their path. Even with these large meals though, Sando Aqua monsters are generally lethargic, as activity takes a lot of energy for them. They spend up to 90% of their time just lying around on rocky shelves, waiting for something tasty to pass by, which makes them ever so slightly more productive than the average Republic senator. When a Sando Aqua monster does spot something tasty, it lunges out and devours it, then goes back to its nap. Most Naboo consider the Sando Aqua monster little more than a myth, as next to nobody's ever seen one, but the Gungans know better. Even they encounter these vast beasts only rarely, but they have enough experience to be afraid of them. Indeed, the Gungans believe the Sando Aqua monsters to be mystical creatures, indisputably real, but deeply connected to a higher plane. They believe that Sando Aqua monsters guard the lost underwater city of Osorus, the mythical home of the Gungan pantheon. I don't buy into that story, but if any creature in this galaxy was brought into being by some higher power or other, I think the giant underwater cats are a pretty safe bet. Well, I should be going. I have a shipment to pick up on Korriban. Maybe you should follow me there. I'll be picking up a very special artifact you might be interested in hearing about. See you around.